Chanel is one of the best luxury brands in the world, valued at over $13 billion. Its history dates back to the 19th century, and it all starts with a homeless girl abandoned to an orphanage who could only dream of success. This is the story of how a homeless girl invented Chanel. In 1883, Chanel was born in France. Her early years were anything but glamorous, as her mother passed when she was only 12, and several months later, her father abandoned her to an orphanage. During occasional holidays, Coco was free to visit her aunt's house. Together with her aunt, Coco would spend her days making clothes. Although she had been taught the trade of sewing at school, her aunt taught her how to sew creatively, a skill that would allow her to create her own hats and later a billion-dollar empire. Early hats she made were quirky, but they already foreshadowed the quirky style that would make her famous. One thing that was clear from the get-go: Coco's vision and sense of women fashion stood out from the style of the 19th century. After Coco turned 20, she became involved with a man who offered to help her in starting a business in Paris. Boy was smart, young, and even wealthier. She very well knew that he could be her ticket to get out of poverty. So Coco decided to quietly slip away to Paris with him. At the time, women's dresses were boring and simply non-practical, and she wanted to change that. Using the skills taught by her aunt and with the financial backing of Boy Capel, Coco opened her first shop in Paris and started selling hats. The shop was an instant hit. Having established a reputation, Coco set out to do the same thing with women's dresses, and once again, with the help of Boy Capel, the doors opened on a new Chanel store in Deauville. It was the place for the rich, and these were just the sort of people Coco wanted to attract. Coco found out the need to expand. She experimented with many different fabrics and eventually settled on jersey fabric. When compared to traditional clothing, jersey was lighter, flexible, and comfortable. This allowed dresses to be made from one piece of fabric. She created a comfortable everyday dress. It was simple, it was stylish, but above all, it was practical. No one had seen anything quite like it. It was a huge success, but soon after, the business came to halt. World War I erupted in the summer of 1914 and destroyed the business. This was no time for high fashion. Sales went down, and Coco almost ran out of business. She was forced to close her stores, but disguised as a war was an interesting opportunity for Coco that would change her life forever. While most of the men were at the war, women picked up their roles. Women were holding France together, but their traditional dresses weren't just impractical. They were dangerous to wear in factories. Coco saw an opportunity and grabbed her chance. She began to create new wartime designs, and then came the breakthrough. At the time, fancy fabrics were hard to find, but there was plenty of jersey. Coco, who had already experimented with jersey fabric, knew exactly what to do. She decided to transform necessity into style. Within months of reopening, the business was thriving again. In 1915, she opened another Chanel boutique in Biarritz. From then on, Coco was known as the only designer whose designer clothes could be found in the homes of the elite. While the world was collapsing, Coco took advantage and expanded her empire. Things were going great. Business was at an all-time high, but then an unexpected tragedy happened. Late on the evening of the 21st of December, Boy Capel was killed in a car crash. Coco was crushed by his death. Despite being broken, Coco wasted no more time in growing the business and made a daring move to launch a new perfume. Named after her lucky number, Chanel No. 5 was the world's most expensive. From then on, she introduced her signature little black dress. It became a uniform for all women of taste. Coco was bound to bring the business to new heights. Time and again, with every collection, she was defying convention and redefining how women dressed. But very soon, a chain of events were set in place that would see her risk it all as the Second World War erupted.
In the engagement assignment, a ship is set ablaze. Giant liberators of the United States Army Air Force bound for Leh, and 36 tons of high explosives and incendiary bombs plunging earthward.
Coco had no choice but to shut down Chanel stores and boutiques, but the very same year, she collaborated with the ruling party of Germany as the Germans began to think that Coco herself could play a role in ending the war. Not even she could realize what she was getting herself into. After the war ended, her reputation was damaged for collaborating with Germany during the war, and France turned against her. She was sent to jail, and yet a few hours later, Coco was released without charge. We aren't sure exactly what happened, but some say she knew too much about the British upper class. It was now unsafe for Coco to remain in Paris, so she bought a one-way ticket to Switzerland. Coco lost everything. The dream was over. And with that, nearly a decade later, fashion once again needed her. At the age of 73, Coco Chanel returned to Paris and to the world of fashion. It was time for Coco to once again launch her post-war collection. She worked tirelessly. Every dress was a masterpiece, carefully inspected and re-inspected. To Coco, this show meant everything, and the stakes could not be higher. It wasn't just France this time, it was Americans. The unchanged simplicity and classic elegance for the classic Chanel look won them over. And once again, the company was back on the map. Life, the most read magazine in the United States, writes, "At 71 years old, Chanel brings more than a style. She brings a revolution." Coco Chanel regains her influence and orders started to come from all over the world, and within a few years, Chanel sales overloaded, making the worldwide fashion colossus worth over $140 million. Sad news arrived one Sunday, the only day when she never worked. Chanel suddenly passes away on January 10th, 1971. After Coco's passing, the success of the house has continued. In 1983, Karl Lagerfeld took over as chief designer for Chanel, and just like Coco, Karl was bound to bring the business to new heights. Karl looked into the past as inspiration for new designs. Business reached its all-time high as Karl launched a collection of watches decorated with precious stones. At the end of the 1990s, a cosmetic line was also unveiled, again with marked success. He kept the classic Chanel signature, but also helped bring the brand into today. In 1994, Chanel earned a net profit of $70 million on the sale of nearly $650 million in ready-to-wear clothes. Chanel once again became the most profitable French fashion house. Since then, Chanel has expanded into skincare, jewelry, and watches. One of the most recognized luxury brands in the world, Chanel continues to be an international byword for luxury. Now, before you click off the video, I want to say one thing. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. If you like the video, then make sure you actually hit the like button. I know these call to actions can be a little bit annoying, but it really does help out because when you hit the like button, the algorithm blesses me. It's still early days for this channel, but I've got a lot of exciting stuff planned, so stay tuned. And with all that being said, I really hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.